Hey everybody, this is Rick. I got this clock about 3 weeks ago. It is made by the King Arthur Clock Company. And when I started looking online, I was surprised there's very little information about this company online, either in print or in videos. In fact, there's only one other video of a different clock. So I thought I would post this just to add a little more information that I know about from about the King Arthur Clock Company. This one is 77 inches tall to the top of the finial. As you can see, swinging back and forth is the pendulum. And this type of pendulum is actually called a lyre. It has those 5 or 6 or 7 bands of running down it. And at the bottom is the pendulum bob. And below that, there's a screw. And that's how you adjust the time and regulate the time. You can either move that pendulum bob up, which will make it go faster, or down, which will make it go slower. It has 3 weights that do 3 different things. The weight on the left runs strictly the hour strike. The weight in the center runs the time. And the weight on the right runs the Westminster Chimes. So the way I remember it is hour strike, time, chime. The weight on the left is 4.7 pounds. The weight on the right and the center are both 6.6 pounds. And those are the weights that are required to run the clock. And here is the label that shows it is the King Arthur Clock Company. There is the pendulum and the lyre, and those weights will continue to sink down inside the base of the cabinet. And here is a label that was inside of it, and it says that this was made on 7/26/1984, and the cabinet was signed off by Ronnie. So it's a 1984 clock. The feature at the top is called the lunar dial, also known as a moon dial or a moving moon dial. And that moves. The way that works is, in case you didn't know it, there is a new moon, a full moon, every 29.5 days. And you'll see over right, it says 29.5 days all the way back from 1. And when we are going to have a new moon, a full moon, that moon will be straight up and down under the number 15. And then every day it moves forward 1. So right now, this is on 24, so I am 9 days past the new moon. When that gets further down, that moon will be hidden and another moon will be coming up. And then again, 29.5 days from the new moon will be another new moon. Inside, there's a top cover. And I'm going to turn this around and open it up and show you the insides. Here is the backside opened up. And what I find interesting is the model is 451. And the movement, that entire mechanism is called the movement. The movement is a 451-050H. And it is actually engraved King Arthur. Normally, I know this is a German-made Hermle movement, but they must have made enough clocks that they actually had the company's name engraved on it. I find that interesting. There's the chains that run the 3 weights. There's the pendulum bob down inside. And this is the side with the chime hammers. And you can see that just by, I can make the move manually. That'll play the Westminster chimes on the quarter hour. There are 4 chime rods for the quarter hour strike, and then there's 4 different chime rods for the hour strike. And the way you adjust these rods is they're simply little pieces, they're brass rods, that's all they are. And you just take it and bend it however you need it so that hammer is lined up on the chime rod. And you want it to where it strikes it, but then it doesn't rest on it. If it strikes it and rests on it, you'll get the chime, and then the chime will quit resonating. It'll just thud and dull right out. And all you really do with two hands, you hold the rod with one hand and bend it to where you want it, bend the distance out to where you want it, and get it set up. This is the fly. This is what regulates how fast that chime plays. It catches air, if you will. This is the hour strike side. All four hammers go at the same time. And there is no volume adjustment on any of these grandfather clocks. It's just a mechanical device. And being that I have this in my living room, I'm trying to find a way to make the hour strike a little less loud. And I just took an old piece of t-shirt material and have it in place between the hammers and the chime rods. And so far that's made pretty decent amount of difference. This is going to go here in a minute. Again, all the chime rods are screwed in to the chime block, and then the chime block is screwed into the soundboard, and then that sound resonates all the way through the wooden body of the clock. So let's get this guy to chime. You'll see the fly moving. And then one strike for the hour. Isn't that beautiful sound? That's the back of the lunar dial, the moving moon dial, and it goes up by 1 notch every time. Now, oiling these things, you can see there's a tremendous amount of mechanical gears going on inside here. I mean, it's an amazing piece of work. I've always been fascinated with them. I have a mantle clock that I got as a kit back in 1983, and I've kept it running ever since, so that's 41 years it's always been working. The real way to take care of a movement is to take that movement out, clean it very specific way, and then oil it. When you oil these, let me get this out. When you oil these, there are very, very tiny little concave circles here. And what you're supposed to do is get a drop of oil in each of those concave circles to where the oil will not run out, but yet you have oil in there. On the back side, that can be done, and believe me, there are a tremendous amount of those oiling spots. On the back side, you can kind of get that done, but the front side, all these shafts also go all the way through to the front side. The only way to get the front side is to disassemble the clock and take it out. I've done that on my mantle clock, but what I've learned to do for myself is simply go down the back side with this long oiler that I have, and this has clock oil in it with that tip off. I can get all the way down. If I can't get on the inside, if I get the inside, I hear most of these I can get the inside. Some of these that are way, way deep in the middle, I cannot get to the inside, but I can get to the back side. So again, all these points, it is one extremely sparingly drop of oil on all those shafts, front side and back side. And when I got this clock, it was not working, and that was the only thing that was wrong with it. It hadn't been oiled in a long time. I took my time and oiled it, gave it time to work itself in, and after good oiling, it is working just beautifully. So again, that's the oiler that I use because it has a very long tip. Let me put this back together and take you around to the front side. Hey everybody, a couple more things. Yes, I'm shooting in this orientation on purpose. I'm not shooting in that orientation because it doesn't fit. So yes, I'm doing that on purpose. Those weights and that lyre and the pendulum bob, they are typically coated in lacquer. You don't ever want to touch those with bare hands. You make sure you have a glove on of some sort if you're going to touch them, and I'll show you in a minute what happens if you don't. And I'm going to show you how to wind this in a second. I just love that. That is so deep and rich and slow and true. I just love that sound. All right, here's how you wind it. As you can see, I've got two of them up. You simply grab the chain, pull it up, and don't ever go all the way to the top. You go too far up, they can jam. So you don't ever want to go all the way up. You don't ever touch these with your hands, because if you do, the oil on your hands tarnishes the lacquer coating and you cannot get that off. If you have lacquer coated and you have true brass under it, you can buff it all off, polish it all off, but that's a tremendous amount of work. So the big thing to note is you never touch these by hand. The clock case, when I got it, it hadn't been cleaned, or the case hadn't been cleaned, or any kind of wood preservative on it for a long time. So I'm on the forums looking around, and on the National Association of Watches and Clock Collectors Association, of course, everybody has their favorites. Some like alcohol to clean it, some like mineral spirits. A lot of guys are talking about GoJo. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, these are priceless, antiques. People are talking about GoJo. But sure enough, GoJo, original formula, non-pomace, cannot have pomace. Pomace cannot have the grit in it. I actually found this at my local car parts store sitting on the shelf. I applied it. I'm not a fan of microfiber towels. I still like my good old-fashioned white t-shirts. I rubbed it on with white t-shirt, rubbed it back off with my 100% cotton towels that I buy from an automotive detail supplier. To me, they just work so much better than anything else. I did this twice on this clock, and I'm going to stop and show you a photo of this bottom section before I did anything. You can see how dry it looks, and you can see all the dirt and all the scuffs. There were a lot of scrapes and scuffs on here. And then this is what it looked like after one cleaning with that GoJo. It's absolutely amazing. Not only is it getting some shine and some luster back, but all those scuffs are gone. The little paint drippings that were on it are gone. I was shocked at how well that worked. Then the next thing to do is to preserve the wood. And again, on these forums, a lot of people are suggesting it's a combination of beeswax and oil. And my daughter had this from when she was cleaning the wooden wainscoting in her house. This has beeswax and orange oil in it. And coated that with my white t-shirt towel. Let that sit. It says let it sit for at least 3 hours if you want to do another coat. I did another. I wasn't getting the sheen that I wanted out of the bottom two pieces. So I did a second coat and let that sit overnight. And then I went back with my 100% cotton towel and just started rubbing and buffing and rubbing and buffing. Let it sit a few more hours, got another clean towel, kept rubbing and buffing. And you can initially feel the drag, but then as you get it buffed out, you can feel it really turn smooth. And that's how it turned out. I mean, it is absolutely amazing to me how gorgeous this clock turned out. I took brushes and got all the grit out of in between all the fine places. It is just beautiful. Another problem I had was the old rubber feet had dry rotted and cracked. They were gone. And these are 1.5 inches in diameter. And surprisingly, no clock parts store has these in 1.5 inches diameter. And that's what I wanted. I did find one replacement that's $8 each in black. I didn't want brown, I wanted black, but they're $9 a piece. So I had used these things in the past, and that's what I used. I didn't want to see all that tan underneath the clock, so I actually have a very long, very, very heavy-duty rigid knife, and I actually cut that much off of each one. So all that was cut off of there. And then I sanded all of the gray so it would accept paint. And I just basically did 2 coats of plain craft black paint all the way around it and let that sit overnight. And that's what's on there now, and it's perfect. That gave me the 1.5 inch diameter that I want. And those are available at your local hardware store. These are 1/4 inch by 20. The diameter of the thread is 1/4 inch, and the 20 means that there are 20 threads per inch. Next thing to do, the last thing to do was clean the glass. And I will link a video of mine at the end of this. I figured out quite a while ago the best way I've ever found to clean glass, especially in your car windshield, especially on the inside where you get that fog built up. This works better than anything else I've ever tried. I never use glass cleaner again. This is the secret. I figured this out years ago, and like I said, I will link that at the end of my description in here. So that's my information edition on the King Arthur Grandfather Clock Company. I hope this helps you. If it does, please do the like and share, thumbs up thing. And also feel free to leave me a comment. I'm very good about answering comments. And God bless. Have a great day.